recite the national pledge. I pledge myself to honor always the flag of Guyana and to be loyal to my country. Thank you. Please be seated. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. Ashney Singh, Minister of Labor, the Honorable Joseph Hamilton, distinguished stakeholders of Cranes Guyana Incorporated, Munish Wars Limited, John Fernandez Limited, special invitees, members of the media, welcome and good morning. My name is Alana Bose, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this momentous occasion, the commissioning of Guyana Inc.'s, mobile harbor cranes. Today marks a significant milestone, not just for CGI, but for the broader development of Guyana's shipping and our ever-growing logistics sector. It also underscores the importance of innovation and progress in Guyana's maritime infrastructure. In the interest of our collective safety, please be advised that there are no safety drills planned for the duration of today's event, so should you hear the alarm, please follow the emergency protocols outlined and the QHSSE leads. As we move through today's program, we will hear from key stakeholders who have played vital roles in this achievement. And so, without further ado, our first speaker this morning is a leader in Guyana's shipping and logistics industry. He is someone who has played a pivotal role driving innovation and expansion. Under his leadership, John Fernandez Limited is undergoing its most transformative period with strategic diversification into the oil and gas sector and significant expansion in transportation and logistics. Please put your hands together for the Chief Executive Officer of John Fernandez Limited and Director of Cranes Guyana Inc., Mr. Philip Fernandez.
Thank you, Alana. All protocols observed. I'd like to welcome all of you and express my thanks for you to come out. When yesterday, when the rain started to fall and the weather looked like it, the way it was looking, I was wondering what would happen today. And thankfully, so far, we've had a good day, and hopefully that doesn't change, at least until after we finish here today. So, John Fernandez Limited was incorporated in 1959, and Munish Wars Limited got into the shipping industry in 1992. And so we have been competing against each other for some 33 years. The close proximity of the two businesses, because we have facilities right next door to each other, led to an amicable relationship, although we were rivals. And during the daytime in our operations, it was met with smiles and handshakes. And then in the night, we would throw our garbage over the fence. And then sure enough, by morning, they would throw it back over and throw theirs as well. So we would have to await nightfall. But I have to be careful what I say with Robin because he's speaking after me. So this project, we must first credit Mr. Tom Palink, who at the time was from Caribbean Feeder Service, because it was Tom who came to us, Munish Wars and John Fernandez Limited, who were competitors, and suggested that we invest in mobile harbor cranes. At the time, without mobile harbor cranes, it means that vessels calling on the shores of Guyana needed to come with cranes on board so that the cargo can be loaded and offloaded. So the vessel would pull alongside and our local team would get on board, including the crane operators, and facilitate that loading and offloading. At the time, it was felt that the cargo volumes in the country were not sufficient enough to warrant the investment in the mobile harbor cranes. But after Tom's initially planting the seed, and we started to look at the numbers and we started to discuss a bit more, then we realized that indeed the time had come. In fact, it was Tom as well who in that conversation introduced the idea that we perhaps can join the berths. And of course, that would allow simultaneous berthing of vessels, and in fact, the sum of the two parts would be greater than the two separately. So the construction of the joining and reinforcement of the berths started in March 2023, and it was led by our own local Bageshwar Morley and designed by SRKN. And in fact, all the works here done in order to accommodate these massive machines were 100% designed and constructed by local service providers. We both reached out to the IDB, who took us through the gauntlet of requirements, all the while when Lorena was smiling. But thankfully, we came out on the positive side. They found us worthy enough, and they have kindly financed the purchasing of the cranes. The cone cranes, Gottwald mobile harbor cranes, we have named them Atlas and Hercules, and they're designed to serve Panamax class vessels. I wouldn't bore you with many details, but just to say that they have a working radius of 49 meters. That is the radius that they can operate in. And then a lifting capacity of 125 tons. So that probably is more than about 7 times all of the people here at one time it can lift. And we have tried it. So you can mark my word on that. So operational trials began in November last year. We started to move cargo with the cranes. And for the first time in Guyana now, we can say that gearless vessels, which is vessels without cranes on board, can actually call at the port and be serviced, be loaded and discharged here in Guyana. This means faster and safer operations. So this we see as a big win for Guyana. Because it is a marked improvement to what we've always had going forward. The last time I was involved in a machinery launch like this at John Finance Limited was back in 1993, when we introduced the first super stacker into Guyana, which moves containers around the yard. And I was still a student, and along with my class here, contemporary Dr. Ashley Singh, we were still students, and I would hesitate to mention how young His Excellency would have been at the time. But nevertheless, now what we see with Guyana boasting one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and we see the optimistic business climate that's being created by our government, we think this is a very most important first step in terms of modernizing the industry here in Guyana and modernizing our facilities for what can be anticipated. I'm proud to be part of this launch, and especially pleased to be joined by our neighbors, friends and partners, Monishwar Limited. And I'm pleased that the weather held up so many of you could join us and to share this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandes. Our next speaker is a distinguished leader in international development, bringing over 15 years of expertise in economic growth, resource planning, and project management. Ms. Lorena Solozarno currently serves as the country representative for the IDB, where she plays a key role in advancing our country's development agenda through strategic partnerships and impactful initiatives. It is my honor to welcome to the podium Ms. Lorena Solozarno to share her remarks.
Thank you, MC. Good morning, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of Corporate Republic of Guyana. Minister Singh, it's a pleasure to be here with having you here too in this morning as a partner also with the IDB. Philip, Robin, it's a pleasure this morning to be here. On behalf of my team at the IDB and IDB Invest, my colleague Mark, also here, has been for the first day, working together to have a successful launch today with you. And I would love to say that this collaboration, as you have mentioned it, two friendly competitors, combining their expertise and knowledge and capital, is a testament of a powerful unity and shared vision for the private sector, but also for the country. It is relevant. Joining forces of John Fernandez Limited and Monish Ward Limited have not only provided an innovation solution in the transport and logistics sector in Guyana, but also have paved the way to modernize our port infrastructure, setting to precedent for future developments. The commissioning of these mobile cranes will have profound impact on trade in the region. As a long-term investment, and coming from the trade aspect in my former life before the IDB, this is great investment. It's long-term investment, but also brings more stability to move the vessels, to move the different products in the facility, but also is a win-win for the port sector towards resilient infrastructure. In addition, this improvement in infrastructure will also attract more shipments as the Panamax, right? So lines on international business to facilitate a smoother and faster trade. Consequently, Guyana and the wider region will benefit and witness this new area of how to manage movement in the port and economic prosperity in the country. We at the IDB Invest are honored to have financed both Monish Ward and Fernandez this groundbreaking venture. The courage, the trust, and the faith demonstrated by both companies in forging such a partnership is truly commendable. Your unwavering commitment to this project will undoubtedly lead to significant improvements in efficiency within the transport sector and the logistics sector, overall helping and supporting the economic growth of the country. As we celebrate this achievement, I wish to reaffirm the IDB Group Invest is dedicated to provide long-term support to the private sector in Guyana. We're committed to keep collaborating with you and in this endeavor and furthermore, to keep modernizing the port and the logistics sector in the country. Thank you very much, and very happy to be here today.
Thank you. Our third speaker today is a dedicated business leader with deep roots in Guyana's commercial and industrial sectors. Mr. Robin Monish Ward is the Executive Director of Monish Ward Limited, representing the third generation of this esteemed family business. Since joining the company in 1992, he has played an instrumental role in its growth and evolution. It is my pleasure to invite Mr. Robin Monish Ward to share his remarks.
Thank you. Honorable President, Dr. Irfan Ali, Minister Ashni Singh, our good friend, distinguished guests, friends, hard-working staff, family, and wife. First, let me state that I'm speaking after Philip, not because it was done in order of importance, but because we did it in alphabetical order. Pause for sarcastic laughter. I thank you for attending our mobile harbor crane launch. These cranes have been working for several months now and have become such an integral part of our operation that it seems like such an obvious step for us to take, such a necessary and logical move. But when Tom Paling of Caribbean Feeder Service first planted that seed in our heads all the way back in 2019, it seemed like such a challenge, a bridge or a crane too far, if you will. And it was, especially on the construction site, because we had to rebuild parts of our existing berths to handle the extra load factor of these cranes. We faced a lot of obstacles, physical ones, by working on existing facilities that had severe impediments. We were also impacting the operations of the two busiest ports in Guyana, which added to the construction challenges. Later on, Mr. Rick Morrell of Tropical Shipping became very interested in the project, and he and Tom were very inspirational to us in getting this project off the ground. And they would often offer kind words of motivation to me, like, "Why is it taking so goddamn long to get this project going, Robin?" And in true teamwork and in the spirit of working together, I would naturally blame all the delays on Alan Finance and his construction team. Alan, as everyone knows, is a very congenial person, and he readily accepted full responsibility. So in other words, we had the perfect team to execute. So here we are. Two very different, but yet very similar companies who have been erstwhile competitors for decades coming together. Coming together metaphorically, symbolically, and also literally, in the sense that we joined our two berths together and had a common working area. We each recognizing that there was a common good that was bigger than any one of us, yet still cognizant of our desires to maintain our separate identity and culture. A common good also in the national interest. So this was a first for the shipping community and an object lesson for the private sector of Guyana. Because if Mark Archer and Marvin Chester are still on speaking terms, then there's definite hope for the rest of us. You guys still speak? Oh, all right, me not. Just eliminate that one. These cranes represent the future of the shipping industry in Guyana and the future of our respective companies and our combined will. The future beckons and the future dictates that we cannot continue to operate the two busiest ports in Guyana in the busiest square mile of the country. So we have been engaging the government and our very forward-looking and progressive president on the path forward, which is to have a national port in Guyana, something that we're all committed to. And these cranes will be the harbinger of that future. So this is the future, and here's to the future. Thank you.
At this time, it is my distinct honor to welcome our esteemed keynote speaker. He is a leader dedicated to progress, innovation, and national development. And under his leadership, Guyana continues to strengthen its position as a hub for economic advancement, with projects like today's commissioning playing a vital role in modernizing our logistics and maritime sectors. Please put your hands together for His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
Thank you very much. Please have your seats. Thank you very kindly. Before I even attempt to say anything, I want to recognize some extraordinary people. First, I want to recognize Mr. Chris Finance, and I think we should all put our hands together. A pioneer in Guyana's development, and I don't restrict his contribution to Guyana, to shipping. That would be doing a severe injustice to his contribution to this country. I hope one day the next generation would understand the sacrifices, challenges, hard work, and the sheer selflessness. You know, sometimes people look at the Finance family and the Monishwar family, and all they see is the clicking dollars. They don't get to see what goes behind the scene. They don't get to see, or did not get to see this timeless sacrifice and selfless sacrifice that people like Chris made for this country and the employment they created in doing so. And I really want to congratulate him and all those who stand before him, the Munishwar family too. You stand on extraordinary shoulders, and we must always recognize those shoulders that we stand on. And today, this accomplishment is not about Philip and Robin alone. It is about those extraordinary shoulders that they stand on, that they continue to represent and build on. And I want to really congratulate those shoulders and all of you today. I want to also congratulate Lorena. Lorena, your job is very different than any other IDB head we had in this country. Our first conversation when I became president was to see how you can reorient the role of IDB to stimulate more private sector support from the IDB. You have been nothing short but extraordinary. In 10 years prior to 2020, we had no new investment from the IDB Invest in the private sector, not a single dollar. Today, under your stewardship and leadership, we have over $200 million of private sector projects. And I want you to continue on this trajectory because it is a private sector that must build this country. The government role is to create that enabling environment, and we're doing our best to ensure that we create that enabling environment. It is the private sector that must take the country forward in a progressive, innovative, dynamic way. The other, one of the first charge I gave to the private sector on assuming this office was to dismantle individualism and to move towards building cooperation, consortiums, and companies. And I've seen this very Demerara River is a symbol of that movement, that shift, that cultural shift, that mental shift in doing exactly this. When you look at the consortiums that are being built right across, not only here, but in the agriculture sector, David is here. They are doing amazing work in building forward and backward linkages and let me tell you how important it is what they're doing. Today, the world is faced with its worst poultry crisis. As I stand before you, state by state, the industry is being shut down literally. If we don't build our capacity and ensure that we can produce all our hatching eggs in 3 to 4 years, ensure that all our table eggs is produced here, ensure that our feed is produced here, and the input for that feed is produced here, we will never be able to compete. We will always be followers. And our position in this region must be to build ourselves as leaders, not followers. And that requires hard work, sacrifice, long-term planning, and long-term thinking. And you will see the benefits of these investments and these important consortiums as different challenges in the world continue to unfold before us. We are also talking, this is just the beginning, I would say the pilot phase of this relationship between Munishwar and John Finance, because we are already discussing much larger consortium, and the IDB is also going to be a critical part of that. And now that you have trusted partners, I know the lag time for approval will reduce substantially. We're hoping for a 75% reduction in time because you don't have to do any due diligence anymore. You know your customer. So we will be aggressively pursuing new initiatives with you. So, it's very special today to see two competitors as they classify themselves. I did not say they're competitors. I never see them as competitors. I see them as facilitators of trade. But they said they were competitors. But today, on this day of Valentine, they're coming together in love. Wow. Wow. What a symbolic way to celebrate this day of love. And I deliberately walk with a white kerchief here, so if there was any battle, I would throw it in between them, so that they will both surrender to love today. But I really want to congratulate you guys on seeing the national interest above self-interest, on seeing the growth of Guyana beyond company interests, on seeing the expansion of our economy and supporting the expansion of our economy beyond company interests. So today is the celebration of collaboration versus competition. Competition is good, competition is necessary, but can you imagine competition with collaboration? Not to take over the market, but to bring ease of doing business, to create ease of doing business, to increase efficiency. And that is what will make us a better country. That is what is going to make us a stronger country. We are very much stronger when we work together. But important to this facility is scalability. The growth of Guyana requires a thorough understanding of scalability of projects. We can no longer operate at the scale in which we are accustomed to operate. And when I say operate at the scale at which we operate, it is not only the physical assets, machines, it is also our human resource asset. We have to transform our human resource asset into a new paradigm, because the future of Guyana requires a different level, speed, efficiency, skill set. It requires us to do what our relatives have been doing when they migrate to the US. Convert more hours in the day to productive hours. Convert more hours in the day into earning hours. And that is why we have given special incentives in this year's budget for those who are willing to put the extra mile in, those who are willing to put the extra work in. We're incentivizing that willingness to increase individual and collective productivity. And that is important at the national level, and that is important also at the company and the private sector level. So scalability. This project, by coming together, allowed a certain level of scalability that optimized the use of space. And on this port, in this port and on this river, space is valuable from many perspectives. So don't allow Philip and Robin to tell you that this is a fancy love relationship alone. This is because it made business sense for them. They're very smart people. It made business sense. They had to evaluate this project to ensure it made business sense. The collaboration is not just about coming together. It must make business sense for the entities. And this definitely made business sense. You know, Munishwar Senior, an extraordinary leader himself, would tell you that everything he did must make business sense, whilst support human development in our country, you know. As a little boy, I remember shopping there. That was our annual pilgrimage at Christmas time coming from Lenora. That was a must-stop location. And the only thing these days is that Robin has increased the profit lines and profit margins. So he's working on increasing profit. So scalability is important, and this project achieves that. Improving and enhancing capacity is key, and this project enables that. But creativity. You know, the private sector today must be creative in its approach to competition and competitiveness. And creativity requires you to have, you know, independent voices and looking beyond the boundaries of your company. And you heard it today. It was independent voices looking from outside that shoot an idea to the two companies. And you must not lock out these voices. You know, sometimes we get so protective of our environment that we don't seek out opportunities beyond our individual boundaries. So this is a lesson, as Robin said, and Philip, for the private sector of Guyana, that you can be strong competitors, but you can also be strong you can also have strong collaboration in the interests of your business and the interests of the nation. Now, a lot of people speak about Guyana transformation, and they rightfully and wrongfully classify this period as a transformative period of Guyana. Yes, this is an important period in the transformation agenda of the country. But make no mistake, this is not a transformative period. Here why. Every investment we are making now is to bring stabilization to the system. Just understand that this is not about the expansion as yet. What we are doing here is investing to meet the demands that is before us. It is to stabilize the system. It's to ensure that we have capacity to deal with what is before us now and the next 5 years. But that transformative agenda is much larger. That expansion phase that a country will go through in the next 5 to 10 years is going to be mind-blowing from every perspective, from a technological perspective, and that is why we have to adopt the best technology today and bring the population up to speed with that technology, both at the public sector, in the public sector, and in the private sector. Time is going to be very valuable, especially in a small population like ours. Technology is what is going to aid competitiveness in a small workforce like ours, whilst we build out and expand our policy to have more persons participating in that workforce. So the next phase, which I call the expansion phase, would have to deal with regional infrastructure. How our economy will be integrated in the rest of the region, our transport and logistics, our roads, our shipping facility. And we have to be mindful about the changes that is taking place in the trade environment, in the policy environment within the region itself. Some of these changes will bring with it tremendous opportunities for us. So that expansion phase, and Lorena, this is important for you too, would have that regional infrastructure outlook. How do we look at strategic alliances? You know, this forest gas to shore project would carry with it 2 power plants and of course some capacity for a small fertilizer plant to meet national demand. And that would be optimally utilizing all that we have. Of course the liquids will come, and that liquids, we still have to talk about that, how we're going to transport that and take that all across the country into northern Brazil, because that will have a whole infrastructure that has to be built around it. But that is one phase. I'm talking now about the second gas project, and I will stop there because I will continue that subject at the energy conference. But look at the potential, when I speak about strategic alliances, look at the potential of converting the bauxite reserve of Suriname and Guyana, which will then give us a large-scale production into aluminium. Here, with natural gas bringing down the cost of production. That is the excitement about the future. That is what is going to drive the transformative change. That is what is going to integrate countries. Look at northern Brazil. Three months delay in moving container traffic down the Amazon River because it was dry. Now, how are we going to build an alliance with Brazil that says Guyana will be your transshipment hub? We are investing in infrastructure to shorten your time to the Atlantic by at least 8-9 days. But here is what we need. So we have to have the policy, the supporting infrastructure from the state, and then the private sector investment that will allow us to play that role for northern Brazil. These are the things that are applicable to you in your line of business as we build out this economy. So regional infrastructure, strategic alliance, sectoral expansion. This morning I was on the phone with another consortium that is looking at black eye and red beans as we know it. And by the first quarter of next year, they will be in a position to export. They'll be in a position to export. That is what we are doing. From imports, from massive imports, to a position of export. And by the end of 2027, there will be a major player in the Canadian market and a substantial player, if not the player, in the regional market. And that is what we're doing. What that does is not only add to food security, that also build out opportunities for transport and logistics, building the traffic numbers so that you can have larger vessels coming in. And this is going to enhance our competitiveness. This is going to reduce the cost of doing business. This is going to enable us to increase yield, reduce the cost of production, and have a better price to compete on the global and local market. And these are the things that excite me about the future of our country. We also have to understand our competitive nodes. What will be our competitive nodes in the future? And how we leverage that competitive nodes. In the past, labor was an important part of our competitive node because it was deemed that the cost of labor is cheap in Guyana. So companies could locate because the labor cost is cheaper. That has changed. That has changed, and the environment for that has changed. So we have to look at the other competitive nodes, and that is not going to reverse itself. We have to look at the other competitive nodes that we'll have, the cost of energy, the efficiency in doing business, making the public service more efficient, reducing the costs and time that it takes to do business for the private sector. All of that now must add to give us back that competitive advantage, to give us back that competitive edge in doing what we are doing, and that is what is important for us. And then we have a whole slew of transformative investment infrastructure that we're going to build out in the expansion phase. So I'm very pleased to be here today to be part of the launch of the Cranes, Guyana Inc., a joint venture between two of the major players in the freight sector, John Finance Limited and Munish Wars Limited. This partnership represents a bold and visionary step in the right direction as our nation continues to harness the opportunities that come with the dynamic and fast-evolving oil and gas sector. For many years, John Finance Limited and Munish Wars Limited have been fierce competitors, each striving for excellence in the shipping and logistics industry. Yet, they've demonstrated that there are moments when business must set aside rivalry and unite for a greater purpose. Today, we witness that evolution, where competition gives way to collaboration and individual strengths merge to create something even more powerful. This joint venture is proof that when businesses join forces, they don't just grow, they prosper. Just recently, I had the honor of declaring open a shore-based facility, a project that brought together local and international investors in a consortium designed to bolster our capacity to meet the growing demands of this sector. That development, much like today's occasion, underscores the critical role of strategic partnership in strengthening our business environment. The establishment of Cranes Guyana Inc. is an example of the importance of collaboration. This is the way to go. Local companies pooling their resources, expertise, and capital to ensure a greater footprint in a highly competitive and capital-intensive industry. This also brings with it shared risk, shared responsibility, and shared commitment. The oil and gas industry requires the support of significant investment, technical expertise, and cutting-edge infrastructure. This reality has driven local businesses to rethink their strategies, and more importantly, to seek out synergies that enhance their collective strength. In this regard, John Finance Limited and Munish Wars Limited have demonstrated leadership by forging this alliance, leveraging their long-established expertise in freight and logistics to meet the evolving needs of our country. It is time for our local companies to embrace a new mindset, one that encourages them to think bigger, act bolder, and grow together. The rapid growth of our oil and gas sector and other sectors in our country demands a shift in perspective. No longer can businesses operate in isolation or remain content with small-scale operations. Now is the time to graduate to larger entities, to build consortia, and to form strategic partnerships with both local and foreign firms. My government is not unmindful of the challenges facing the shipping and freight industry sector. We recognize that the shipping industry is one of the major arteries of our economy, providing essential freight and logistical services. As the industry expands, we are seeing the deployment of increasingly larger and more complex equipment that challenges existing logistical capacities and necessitates the acquisition of new and improved machinery. It is in this context that investment in Cranes Guyana Inc. must be celebrated. The establishment of this joint venture signals the proactive approach our local businesses are taking to ensure that they remain competitive and relevant in the face of changing demands. I therefore wholeheartedly welcome this investment. It is a major plus for our country and for these two companies. It is a significant win for local content. It is a significant win for local content, demonstrating the capability of Guyanese businesses to step up, innovate, and expand their operations to meet the needs of the sector. This kind of initiative aligns perfectly with our government's vision for ensuring that our local businesses have a fair and substantial share in the wealth-generating activities of the oil and gas industry. But even as we celebrate and welcome this achievement, we remain cognizant of the challenges that persist within our freight and logistics sector. The shortage of waterfront land is a real constraint for businesses looking to expand their port facility. The movement of cargo to and from and between terminals is increasingly hindered by congestion on the roads. Additionally, the limitations on the size of vessels that traverse the Demerara Harbor continue to pose operational difficulties because of siltation in the channel. However, let me assure you that these challenges are going to be met with solutions. And this year, we have placed in the budget capital resources to commence the solution to these problems. The time to complain about problems and to waste energy and time regurgitating what the issues are is long gone. I'm humbled to lead a government that is interested in solutions, that is interested in people, and interested in finding ways in which we will build a stronger Guyana and a Guyana that leads this region. Let me assure you, these challenges are going to be met head-on. We're committed to the development of a deepwater harbor, a game-changing project that will significantly enhance our country's shipping and logistics capabilities. Plans are also already in motion to dredge and deepen the Demerara Harbor to allow for the passage of larger vessels. Furthermore, we remain committed to providing necessary incentives for businesses that invest in freight forwarding and logistics, ensuring that they have the support they need to expand and modernize their operations. The government is fully aware that Guyana's development requires these investments. We must have an efficient world-class logistics and transport infrastructure. That is why we are prioritizing the development of key port and inland transportation, facilities that will facilitate smoother and more cost-effective movement of goods and services. We see the expansion of our shipping and logistics sector as critical to the overall success of our national development strategy. And let me say that this sector must not only look at our port facility, we have to look at LETEM and to see what investment will be required in LETEM as we expand our footprint into northern Brazil. It is my hope that local companies take inspiration from today's launch and explore similar joint ventures. We've already seen how collaboration can provide a competitive edge in this industry, and I'm confident that more businesses will recognize the benefits of pooling their strengths. The opportunities available within this sector and other sectors in our country are immense, and it's only through strategic partnership and innovation that our local enterprises will be able to maximize their participation and profitability. John Finance and Manishwar Limited, I extend congratulations. Your foresight and commitment to advancing local industry are commendable. I thank your staff and all the technical team who supported you in seeing the success of this project. Cranes Guyana Inc. stands as an example of what we can achieve together. As we look to the future, let us remain steadfast in our mission to build a robust and inclusive economy, one where local businesses are not merely spectators, but key players in the transformation that is unfolding. The government remains your partner in this endeavor, committed to fostering an environment where innovation, investment, and industry thrive. And you know in the private sector the importance of predictability, the importance of vision, the importance of strong policies, and the importance of continuity. And that is why I'm sure most of the private sector would want to see the continuity of a government that is proactive, innovative, and building the future of our stable 2025. And I'm sure the private sector would play its role in having the continuity of strong government alive in our country. And I see David smiling and Munishwar bowing his head. Robin bowing his head. Let me also say that Robin is a funny guy. When he asked me to come to this function, he said, I want to assure you that cost is important for both John Finance and Munishwar. So we chose a strategic time where we would not have to provide snacks or lunch for anyone here, so that it would not burden their budget. That is how strategic this guy is. Once again, congratulations to all those involved in the establishment of Cranes Guyana Inc. I wish you every success as you embark on this exciting new chapter in the lives of your company. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we wind down today's proceedings, it is only fitting that we express our gratitude to those who have made this event possible. Delivering the vote of thanks is someone who plays a key role in partnership building and strategic growth. He serves as the Business Development Manager at John Finance Limited, contributing to the company's continued expansion and success. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeremy Finance.
Kindly allow me to stand on all protocols already observed. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome. I wish I was as funny as the President or the speakers before me, but I'm not, so I'll just get straight into this. I've been tasked with a simple yet important job today of extending gratitude. Gratitude to those who have joined us to celebrate the occasion, and also to those who have put this event together. Therefore, on behalf of Cranes Guyana Inc., Munishwar Limited, and John Finance Limited, I wish to thank the President and his ministers for their presence and for taking the time out of their busy schedules to join us here today, their presence signifying the importance of this occasion. Also, to the members of government agencies such as the Guyana Revenue Authority and the Maritime Administration of Guyana, whose support is instrumental not only today but in our daily operations and the success of those operations. I also wish to make mention of some specific people, Ms. Lorena Salazar, and Mr. Mark Peters from the Interdevelopment Bank, who worked with our teams on financing this project, Mr. Alan Garcia and Eric Gentshine of Coney Cranes, who assisted in the purchasing and the logistics of the cranes, Mr. Tom Paling and Rick Murrell, who inspired the idea of having these cranes, and who worked with the teams to help make an idea a reality. Also, Dr. Krishna Narayan and Bageshwar Murli, who worked on the design and construction of the reinforced jetty on which we currently are and on which the cranes are currently housed. Also, a big thank you to our events coordination team, Ms. Gomati Gangadin, Sarah Madramutu, Tisha Mutu, Sarah Das, Stefan Fraser, Rajiv Munishwar, Kerry Ann Bacchus, and the members of the Munishwar and John Finance Limited Security and Health and Safety team. Finally, I wish to extend heartfelt gratitude on behalf of Cranes Guyana Inc., John Finance Limited, and Munishwars to the men and women who work within our offices and in our operations, and whose individual efforts ensure each berthing of a vessel is done safely and efficiently. These men and women work directly and have a direct impact on our daily lives as consumers here in Guyana. Once again, thank you all, and please have a wonderful day and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'd like to invite you to witness the ribbon cutting and as the commissioning of the cranes. We'd like to invite His Excellency, Mr. Robin Monishwar, Mr. Philip Fernandes, and Ms. Lorena Solorzano to join us at the ribbon cutting.